Although the Mac M2 Pro display is really good and accurate, I was constrained by the size of it. I wanted something bigger, color accurate, and I didn't want to shell out a fortune on it. I do have another display, but it's a cheap gaming monitor that I use for texting and following tutorials while editing, so I don't have to collapse windows all the time. It's okay, but definitely I wouldn't trust it for color-sensitive tasks. I spend entire days on a search spree, watching countless YouTube videos, reading Amazon reviews, you name it, and at the end of the day there was just one monitor that met all the criteria. Mind you, this was my first proper external monitor, and I didn't really know what I was getting myself into. Finally, the day comes. The monitor arrives, and it was not what I was expecting. The monitor I went for was the BenQ PD2725U. It was highly recommended and it was voted the best display for Mac-friendly features of 2024 by macworld.com. It boasted so many specs for color accuracy straight out of the box and even the M mode, which is supposed to perform precise color matching when paired with a Mac. But why did it fail? Let's start with the build quality. It was good, but nothing exceptional. The biggest downside for me was the base at the bottom, which took a massive chunk of space out of my desk. The stand felt smooth, but not steady. Anything typed on the keyboard will make it jitter, which got really annoying really fast. The back of the monitor was quite thick and made out of plastic, which didn't feel much premium at all. The overall image was great, but when compared to my calibrated MacBook it was inferior. The 400 nits of the BenQ were not enough to display color accurately while editing. I always had to jump back on the Retina display to check what I was doing. It was frustrating. After almost a week of struggling, I started noticing some performance issues too. Lightroom and Photoshop felt sluggish, a thing I've never experienced before. I knew something was happening on the background and I did some more research and stumbled upon something really interesting. I came across a few Reddit posts and a very interesting website where I came to know the problems with macOS and scaling. You see, macOS works really well with two different resolutions, Retina and non-Retina. Retina is 218 ppi and non-Retina is 109 ppi. Long story short, all the displays that align with this resolution will be good. All the displays that don't align with this resolution will not be as good because they require scaling. Scaling requires GPU. A 60Hz monitor will scale 60 times a second, placing some stress on the machine, above all when using multiple editing apps at the same time. I was left with no other choice but to return the monitor and get something else. And I'm not actually stating that the BenQ monitor is necessarily a bad one. I'm pretty sure there are plenty of people out there who will find this monitor just right, but not me. While having another look at this monitor chart, there were just a couple of options left to choose from. One was way too old and another one was way too expensive, but the studio display was just right. Almost double the price of the BenQ, but I knew that was the monitor I had to go for. Fast forward a couple of days and the studio display arrived. I was really excited and somewhat scared. I read so many reviews about it and there are definitely some mixed feelings concerning this monitor. Some people say it's good, some other people say it's not. At first glance it seems perfect, but is it really that good? As everything else, it has got some cons, and let's start with that. It's expensive, yes, but there is almost nothing like it on the market, unless you go for more professional and expensive displays. If you go for the height adjustment, it will cost you an extra £400. Honestly, I've been with Apple since 2009 and these Apple tax things never cease to surprise me. The power cable at the back is not removable, but that doesn't bother me because I have no kids or cats that can damage it. It does have a webcam at the top which has got some decent quality, but I never use webcams anyway. It's just 60Hz, which is the biggest bummer for me. I would have expected 120Hz in this price range, but at the end of the day, I do not game on my laptop, I have a dedicated PS5 for that. It would be nice to see though in a future update. As for the pro reasons, well, now I have way more space on my desk, the design is really compact and it feels solid and well built everywhere you touch. Honestly, you've got to pass your hand on this thing to understand the kind of feeling I'm talking about. The speakers are an absolute joy to listen to, everyone says how good they are and they are indeed right. I've got to admit, I really love this product. Apple is really good at trapping you into their ecosystem. Once you are in, there is almost no way out, unless without sacrificing performance and quality. Overall, I'm very pleased with the purchase. But who's this monitor really for? If you just need a bigger display for browsing, checking emails, watching YouTube, you'd probably be better off with a cheaper alternative, and there are a lot of them. If your ultimate goal is indeed photo and video editing, you cannot go wrong with it. One Thunderbolt cable will sort all of your problems. You don't need to mess around with different settings. You don't need to mess around with the RGB values to color match. The Thunderbolt cable will also provide power to the MacBook. You have additional USB-C port at the back and all the benefit of using an Apple product in a macOS environment. What else do you need?